I 42 male, think wife, 40 female, might be cheating. I've recently had the suspicion that my wife is having an affair with another man, but I'm not sure what to do next. Due to the fact that I do not have a smoking gun as evidence, I do not want to approach her or bring it up in case there is nothing going on, or if she covers it up for herself. It's simply been small touches and a spidey sense of adventure. She started working out more often around 4 months ago, and has become considerably more self-conscious about her physical appearance. Even though she is extraordinarily attractive, she never put on much makeup or bothered with her hair. She's also grown a little too attached to her phone, which I realize is a bad omen for the future. Even though it's customary for us to glance at each other's phones, I'm well aware that hers never leaves her side, and if I ask for it to take a picture or do anything else, she'll tell me to use mine instead. She has also begun to stay late at work more often and has done a couple of additional out-of-town business trips as a result of these changes. She hasn't initiated any type of intimacy with me in the preceding 4 months and has just offered me pecking kisses in that time period. Initiating contact with her was something I tried many times, and she rejected me a couple of times before allowing me to go with it a couple of times. She wasn't engaged and simply laid there. The experience left me feeling dreadful, far worse than being simply rejected. I brought up the subject of lack of intimacy with her a while back, and she responded by saying she was exhausted all of the time from being a mom, working, and doing weights. While she vowed to improve her performance and kissed me later that night, nothing has improved since. I've been wondering whether it's some kind of midlife crisis thing that's going on. There is a guy at her place of employment who I feel may be a potential concern. My wife used to talk about him a lot, but she hasn't brought him up in conversation since a few months ago. I am aware, though, that they continue to work closely together on several projects. From what I understand, he is married with children, and he has just notified my wife that he is suffering marital difficulties. I met him a few of times, and he seemed mostly uninterested in me. We were around a lot of other people. He's not quite as handsome as I am, and he's definitely not in as excellent of condition as I am. This is not meant to be a boast, but it's true nevertheless. I'm imposing and intimidating, but he's unassuming and a little overweight. Nonetheless, he dresses in a flashy manner, is gregarious and likes drinking. I don't drink, and my wife has mentioned a few times that she wishes I would go out drinking once in a while. He has a master's degree, although I just have a high school diploma. In addition, he makes far more money than I do. I train fighters and like what I do, but I only get a pittance for it. This individual makes at least 6 times what I do and is proud of his fortune. I just bring it up to demonstrate how we differ on this issue. It's mostly because my most recent work trip took me to a tropical resort-type place, and I had the idea that there was a huge number of folks traveling with me that I've been worried about. It turned out that the only individuals who were there were my wife, the flamboyant gentleman, and the company's chief executive officer. The CEO is relatively senior and does not engage in social activities. He is entirely focused on his work. According to my fantasies, my wife and this other person were spending a lot of time together that week doing who knows what. It's a difficult situation because I want to see whether my gut hunch is true, but I don't want to create a bigger issue by accusing or interrogating her. We've had our fair share of ups and downs throughout the years, but generally, I'd say we had a really pleasant marriage together. There are no major issues to be concerned about. Although I'm not the most outgoing guy, and I don't make a lot of money, this has been a little cause of worry for my wife. She asserts that I am not living up to my full potential, and that I might make much more money if I worked in a different field. I don't want to create the appearance that she is worried with money, but I am aware that women are more comfortable when they have a greater nest egg in their bank account. My wife feels that I am capable of various tasks, but I am not qualified to do anything other than fight and train fighters. That pretty much sums up my whole life. As an alternative, you may become a personal trainer or a nutritionist. None of the products is very lucrative. With that out of the way, she seems to be satisfied. My friend encouraged me to keep my worries to myself and to begin spying and gathering evidence if any existed. I followed his advice and began snooping. However, I have a weird sensation about intruding into her personal space. If she's cheating on me, I can't see myself continuing with her. I'm crossing my fingers that I'm completely incorrect about everything. But the notions of her cheating are starting to take root in my mind, and I feel obliged to find out what she is up to. The fact that we have 2 children is something that I am concerned about. Even though I am involved in every part of my children's lives, the thought of only seeing them half the time would make my heart swell. If you don't mind the long essay, please accept my apologies. I'd be interested in hearing any advice on how to deal with this situation. Update: the most current information is provided here. When I attempted to retrieve the login information for our mobile phone account, I was unable. She uses her phone often for professional purposes, and nothing looked out of the norm until I started categorizing the calls and recording the times they were made. At times, particularly late at night, a large number of messages were sent to a single phone number, a few hours after we go to bed. Identifying who owns that phone number and figuring out how to get into her phone in order to see what name it's kept under are my next 2 objectives. This video made me feel sad and outraged while I was watching it. As much as I tried, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was a mistake or that it was the fault of one of her pals. It was my first effort to establish a relationship last night, and I completely expected to be turned down. And I was turned down. She expressed regret, but said that she was too exhausted and suffering from a headache to continue. I confessed to her that I didn't believe we were connecting very well at all. Afterwards, she expressed regret and resolved to do better in the future. That's what she stated the last time I spoke with her. I didn't pursue the subject further. Instead, I said goodbye and went to bed. It was this morning that she told me that she was considering having a ladies' holiday to Las Vegas, despite the fact that she is not a gambler. When I asked who she was going with, she replied that she was going with a couple of girls I'd never met before. Apparently, they're old college friends. It's possible that everything is a coincidence, but a lot of things appear unusual. Update 2. I've been suspecting my wife of cheating on me for quite some time. I eventually did some digging and went through the comprehensive mobile phone information available online. I saw that there were SMS sent to one number in the middle of the night. There were hundreds of them. I dialed the number from a pay phone, and it was answered by one of her employees, the one I thought could be trouble. I was able to obtain her phone while she was in the shower, and the only thing erased was the text chat. In addition, that guy's phone number and a female's name were kept in her phone. I'm now really concerned about the out-of-town travels she had while this man was with her. I had to leave the home to get some fresh air. I was able to gather myself enough to return home, but I'm at a loss for what to do next. If I provide her with what I have, she will most likely explain it away. I'm not sure if I should attempt to keep it secret in order to gather additional proof, or whether I should come out with it sooner. I am quite enraged. I'm enraged with her, but I also want to go after the man. It'll take all I've got not to do it. I'm concerned that she'll confess to improper flirtation and that I won't have enough proof to persuade her to acknowledge everything. Do you have any suggestions about when to face her? I'm going to remain awake while she messages him. Then interrupt her and ask who she's messaging. Check to see if she's lying to me.